Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence in Africa. Today, we have Amy Bray from South Africa, who is part of Zindi. Thank you for making time for this, Amy, and welcome.
Thank you, Tatenda. I'm looking forward to today.
Okay. I'm really excited because when I started doing these interviews, I talked to one of the co-founders of Zindi, Eko Duka from Ghana. And I was just so excited to talk to more people from Zindi to just understand like if there's a data science team behind that. And well, thankfully, Paul from Zindi introduced me to you. So I hope this is going to be a fun discussion. So can you start by introducing yourself and talking about your journey into data science?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Amy Bray. I'm a data scientist and project manager at Zindi. I'm going to start with my history and then we can go into where I am at now. I went to university to study maths and physics. So my degree is in maths and physics. I needed to do an additional course in my first year and I didn't know what to do. And my dean of science recommended I do computer science. And I said, sure, why not? And it was the hardest thing I had ever done. But there was this really cute boy, and I had to impress the cute boy. So that's why I continued. And this is why I did second year computer science, because of this cute boy. And by the end of second year computer science, I was like, this is too hard, even for a boy. So I stopped computer science. And I thought that I was done. I was like, I'm never dealing with code again. I hate it. I'm horrible at it. It has caused me so many tears. I'm not doing this. And so for 18 months, I managed to stay away from coding, and I was so happy. In my fourth year of university, I did a numerical physics course, which was really amazing. We got to go back and visit all the problems we couldn't do in first, second, and third year because they were outside of the scope of the course, so we didn't have enough. We didn't know enough physics to do them. So we got to redo all the difficult parts of our degree. And the reason we couldn't do them was because we couldn't visualize them. And we got to visualize them through Python and Jupyter Notebooks. So I was introduced to Python in my fourth year of university. And I was one of the worst in the class. My code was horrible. I was really embarrassed to hand it in. But I just did it. I handed it in and I had fun learning about physics. Physics is my true passion. And I then started my master's. And I said, I am not doing code. I hate code. I'm going to stay furthest away. And so I started my master's in maths, which was great because you didn't need a computer. All you needed was pen and paper. And it was so boring. It was so boring. I did not get on with my supervisor. And so finally I left my master's. I did not complete it. And I came to Cape Town and I was just gonna make my way in Cape Town, South Africa. A friend was working at Ixio Analytics, so I reached out to her and she says, oh, we're in need of a data scientist intern. And I was like, I know Python. And she goes, that's good enough. And I was hired as an intern. And in my first week, she goes, great, what we need you to do is we need you to do some code review of this machine learning solution. And we need you to teach this machine learning course online. And I went, what's machine learning? I had no idea. I just got hired because I was super excited. And I hated coding, but I needed a job. And then they said, you're doing machine learning. And I had no idea what it was. I was freaking out.
Wow.
But I just put my head down and asked lots of questions and had lots of fun. Thankfully, all the course material was there. So I would teach in the evenings. And during the day, I would study so hard so that if anyone had questions in the evening, I could answer them. And that's how I got into machine learning and data science. So the way Zindi was born is I started interning with Ixio, and Zindi was only 6 months old at that time.
Oh.
But the people at Ixio also worked at Zindi. And so that's how I got into Zindi. I was the Zindi intern from Ixio.
Oh, okay.
And from there, I've just potted along, and I now love my job. And I don't mind coding. I don't love it, but I don't mind it.
So I talked to Eko Duka, one of the co-founders of Zindi, and he talked about Ixio Analytics and how it ended up being Zindi. So thank you because I saw that you were part of Ixio Analytics, and my question was, did that help you get to Zindi or but thank you for shedding light on that. So I'm quite curious about your work as a program manager at Zindi. So you mostly manage most of the data science projects, right? So can you talk about your process in how you manage a data science project from when it starts to talking to the stakeholders and up to the final end of the competition?
Sure. So I'm on a learning curve myself in that Zindi is different. It's not a pure software company. It's not a pure data science company because we're not a data science competition platform. We're a community of data scientists that does competitions.
Okay.
So we can't use pure software project management techniques. So it does lead to a bit of miscommunication internally, but we are working through that. The way it works is we have an amazing global partnerships manager and our executive team, leadership team. They generate amazing, awesome leads for competitions. They get on a call with those companies and they see how data science and Zindi can meet those companies' needs. I am then invited, or someone from my data science team is invited to the next call with the client. So we can ask them all the technical questions so we can understand what we're getting ourselves into before we agree to anything. This call is normally very inspiring, normally very eye-opening. I work really hard on keeping a work-life balance, so as to not think about work or do work after hours. But it's really difficult when you've had a great call with a client because they just fill you with so many good ideas and you're like, oh, yeah, we can do this and that, and this is how we can solve the world, and it's quite exciting. But what happens is once all the paperwork's done by legal, admin, and our global partnerships, we get our hands on the data. We love working with data mature clients. So these are clients that have a data science team already or have an idea of what they want. They come in saying, this is the metric we use, this is the data we use, we want to see if your data scientists can beat our benchmark, or we want to add these limitations. And that's great because we know that once we have the solution, we can give it straight to them. But we also really enjoy working with data immature people because that's when we have the most influence. They come not knowing what data science can do, and with the power of our 50,000 data scientists on Zindi, we can show them how incredible data science is, from recommendation engines to forecasting air quality, to detecting fraudulent transactions on an e-commerce platform. We can deal with that with the client. So what happens is we'll have our first call with the client, we'll understand their needs, I write this all down, and then I turn to my data scientists, Rose and Darius. Rose is known as R. Wambui on Zindi, and Darius is Brainiac.
I think
I've hired off the leader.
Rose somewhere. Yeah. I've seen Rose. Her name, I've seen it somewhere, I think. Or I don't know, but her name is really familiar.
I think we all become familiar after working at Zindi because we have to do so many presentations. So we get the competition, we get the data, we write down what the target is, if there's any exceptions needed, and then Rose or Darius take the data and they just run with it. I don't know how they do it, but they just work so quickly and so efficiently, and they prepare the data. They even create sample notebooks and starter models to send to the client to show what the baseline will be. The client then signs off and that data goes onto the Zindi platform. When we talk about the Zindi competitions, we just think about, oh, you just need to get like the data done. It's not just the data. So much time, so much effort goes into writing the text that's on Zindi. We have so many discussions about the challenge names. Is the subtitle accurate enough? Is it going to be too long on a flyer? Is the flyer attractive? Does the flyer have the correct logos on it? Are the logos in the correct order? Can you put this logo above that logo? So while the data science team is heads down with the data, I am busy creating Google Docs where we talk about the text that goes into the competition, refining error metrics, refining social media. I introduce them to our marketing team where we talk about copy and logos and all those fancy stuff. And it is such a relief when the competition finally goes live.
Okay. And then you also, so you say that your data science team will take the data and just work on it. So does that include like cleaning it, structuring it for competition, separating the testing and, oh, okay. That's really cool. That's really cool.
One thing I would like to talk about is bias. We get the full data set from the client, and we look at each feature closely in the data set, and we have to determine if that feature is an okay feature to include, to give to the participants. Some data sets we've had to remove gender and age, or we have had to mask gender and age, such as by timesing it by a constant and extrapolating it, or just because the model could pick up on that, or we could, the data scientists could put stuff on that we don't want. So each feature we look at from the client to make sure that the model they're getting is fair and unbiased.
That's really good, because I was also interested to say, so what is the process of data cleaning? Do you like remove something, or do you also help the clients to define a problem? Because I'm sure some of them will just come and be like, we have data, but we don't really know what we can do with it.
So those clients can either fall into the love or hate category. The love category is they come and they're so excited because they've just heard about this community of data scientists that are passionate and intelligent and African, and they've got this data, and they say, and we're like, oh, we can do like a prediction challenge with this, and you'll get the solution that you don't even have to like create an API or anything. You just need to open it in Colab and click play, and they're like, oh, we can do that. But then you have some clients that come to us with data and they think we're going to create a robot or something for them.
Wow.
Or they come and they're like, it's like, yes, we can create like a classification algorithm that can be the starting point for a chatbot. And they're like, oh, that sounds awesome. So when are you going to create the chatbot? No, we're not creating the chatbot. We're creating classification algorithms for the chatbot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are currently working on a challenge at the moment where we need to predict student performance in schools. And we are trying to The client wants to know what factors they need to change to improve student performance. But there's some features that they can't change, such as socioeconomic status or age of the student.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out a way to fix those categories so that they can't be altered.
Okay.
Whereas like number of teachers in the school, that's a variable that can be changed. Or distance to school, maybe that's something that can be changed.
Okay. So do you know, like, do you keep a record of do you think, okay, how do I structure this question? Okay, do you keep a record of how many of the results from competitions are actually implemented by the organizations that run the competition?
I haven't done a count recently, but I did a count last year. So September already. And about 50% of solutions are implemented, which is great.
Yeah, that's a really good number. And sometimes do they end up like wanting to employ some of the people who work on the challenges, or they just take the solution?
Sometimes we see users being employed to implement the solution, sometimes long-term and sometimes just on a contract to employ it, to deploy it, employed to deploy.
Okay, that's a really good opportunity that I'm sure other people didn't know about. So hopefully someone might work on a challenge and get a job afterwards. I don't know.
So if anyone is looking for a competition to get employed, I really recommend that employed to deploy is the big aspect about the employment, is deployment of a model. Most of our users are very good at creating models and interesting features, but the converting from a Jupyter notebook, a Colab notebook, to something in production is quite different. So do some reading, figure out, what does efficiency mean? What does a large model? How much does it cost to train a model? What are different infrastructures that you're going to deploy your model on? Can they cope with what you are proposing?
Okay.
These are questions we don't think about when building a model, but we need to start.
Yeah, that's great advice. So what is the process like for the companies or individuals who want to host competitions for Zindi? Do they send you an email? Is there a part on the platform where they select, like, click a button and how does it go about?
So if you're a company, please can you go on to Zindi, so www.zindi.africa. And on our front page, you'll see that there's a button that says For Business. If you click on that, there's a Contact Us form where you can describe your problem, and we'll reach out to you within 48 hours to set up a meeting and to take the conversation forward. You don't have to come to us with a complete idea. Our data science team has a combined experience of, I think, 50 years. So you're in good hands. And so we can help you figure out what your company needs. Maybe your company needs a competition and a crowdsourced solution. Or maybe your company needs to hire someone. And we can help you work out if you're hiring an intern or a senior. And we can also support you during that whole process.
Okay. So I don't know if it's okay to ask this, but do you have like a pricing? I don't know, or what's the word? Okay. Do you charge the people who want to have competitions on Zindi?
So a question we get often is, or something that happens, is people are really surprised when we say that there's a fee to host a competition. If you are a university or an educational institution and you have like a student club, we will host competitions for your student clubs for free, because this is important for growth of the data scientists in Africa. If you are a Zindi ambassador, you also get a competition for free, and we support you financially. So if you lead a community in a data science community in Africa, please reach out and we can help you become an ambassador for Zindi in your country. But if you are an NGO, an African startup, an international startup, a corporate, an African corporate, we've got different price packages and different things that each package includes. However, we never want finances to be a barrier for entry. So if you think that crowdsourcing is the way to go and it's the only way that you can get a solution that's going to be impactful for your business, please reach out to us, because we can always make a plan.
That's good. That's good. So I think we're almost running out of time. I had asked for questions on Twitter and LinkedIn. So I unfortunately didn't get any questions. But I only last checked yesterday. Today I didn't get time to actually check and see if anyone ended up posting any questions. So maybe let me just take a moment to just check to see if there's anyone who ended up responding. And if there isn't, we can just...
While you're busy looking, I do want a take-home message to be from this, is that imposter syndrome is real. Whether you are a woman, a man, an expert, a newbie, we all experience it. We all think that someone else is better than us. Someone's always louder. Someone always looks cooler than us.
Yeah.
Put your head down, work, ask for help, ask those embarrassing, stupid questions, because you're going to be really grateful that you have asked those questions.
Yeah. Well, I was going to also ask you for advice. So you
ask stupid questions is my advice.
That's great advice. Well, unfortunately, no one submitted a question. So, well, probably because this is the first time that I've asked for questions. So maybe because it's the first time, you know how it goes when you start asking for things online. So maybe eventually when I continue talking to other people, they will submit questions. But yeah, so thank you for the advice that you gave. And thank you for talking about Zindi. I'm sure a lot of people will find this insightful, and they will always keep it at the back of their minds if they want to host a competition, if they are a university that wants to do a data science competition for their students. This is very useful. And I don't know, can they reach out to you if they have questions? Not necessarily using the contact form. Is that okay? And do you have a contact, maybe email address?
So I recommend not using my email address, but I recommend using the Zindi platform. You can reach me, sign up onto the Zindi platform, create an inbox. It's in the top right, and you can send me a direct message to Amy Florida 66. That's AMYFLORIDA 66. And you can send me a message directly on the platform.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So, well, I'm really grateful that you made time for this, and thank you for talking about Zindi. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity.